So I got introduced to Marty and Gray through a peer group. We're part of this group called the Quack Pack. It's kind of an informal benchmarking group, and Brian Brooks had worked with Marty in multiple facets over the years. And when we reached out to Brian, explaining that we're kind of exploring the possibility of selling, he directed me right to Marty and said, "This guy is great." And that turned out to be very true. Marty's been awesome through the whole process. The proactivity and the line of communication was just always open, just the right amount. I actually started the whole process with another broker, and that didn't end well. It just didn't. We didn't click. They didn't think that they could help for an appropriate amount of pricing. Marty was willing to be flexible on the pricing structure. That's something we came up with together. And then the end-in sales price ended up being well in excess of what we expected. So, sort of the true win-win scenario. Every person's different going into this process. It's long and drawn out and lots of nuance to it. My background is I'm a retired Air Force officer as well as a master's degree in entrepreneurship. We felt fairly confident in running the business, but selling the business is a whole nother level of challenges that you're not quite used to encountering. So Marty was great with really knowing when to push and when to back off, I would say is the kind of his superpower. There were multiple instances, as with any deal, I'm sure, where the whole deal could have fallen apart. And Marty was great counsel to basically go, no, you can push a little harder here. And then other times the advice was maybe back off of this. That's probably not going to get you anywhere. And that was just excellent advice. So I didn't know this before, chatting with Marty multiple times, but the history of so many deals in Gray's history, being able to pull back and reach to those deals and say, well, we're having a little hiccup here. Let me show you 3 or 4 other deals that we've done in the last, year or two that this is how it was handled. And both sides ended up happy with the situation. There's always, a lot of margin and room in between on the negotiating table. And that helped tremendously to be able to say, well, this business that you're selling is slightly smaller or bigger than this deal and that deal. And that was wonderful to be able to kind of have that warm fuzzy of go, well, this is reasonable and expected and normal, because there's a lot of negotiating topics that aren't really obvious. Which side should pay for this? Which side should write these parts of the document, that sort of thing. So that was wonderful to have that robust experience to bring to the table. I think Marty did a great job in the beginning of showing us, everyone thinks that your business is worth the moon, right? I think there was actually multiple instances where Marty found value that we didn't even see. His background allows him to kind of leverage certain key pieces of financial statements that go, oh, actually, well, that doesn't apply to the new owner, and that's valuable. There's lots of layers of every deal, and he found multiple little instances where something that was sort of normal and mundane for us, and we didn't really see where it could boost our value, and he obviously shined a light on that and got us the money for that.